What's up YouTube, Mike here from TechnoGI, and today I wanted to do another episode of my weekly Web Roundup. And this is nothing more than tech articles and rumors from around the web from the past week. So I've got 6 stories that jumped out at me this week, so let's take a look at the first one. The first one is definitely a rumor, but it's Five Nights at Freddy's game franchise is supposedly going to be turned into a movie. Now, when this will happen and if it'll happen is anyone's guess, but that is the rumor. And who would have thought? I mean, I guess I'll believe this when I see it. And to me, it sounds like it's going to be like Night at the Museum meets Friday the 13th. I mean, seriously, what kind of storyline could you come up with? I mean, I don't know. It's Chuck E. Cheese get overrun by evil spirits and animatronics go crazy. I don't know. Anyone's guess, but Five Nights at Freddy's, possibly the movie is coming to a theater near you, so look for it. So, next brings me to Nintendo. Of course, we all know Nintendo, and I personally grew up on it. It's pretty much one of the first games I ever played, besides Atari. But Nintendo targets 5 mobile games by March 2017. So, that's still a ways away, and only 5 games. I mean, that's kind of a disappointment. I mean, Nintendo is really, they just haven't really wanted to jump into the mobile gaming when it comes to iOS gaming, whether it be Android or Apple iOS. They've really stayed away from it, and it really doesn't make any sense to me because pretty much every system now has an emulator. I mean, and most of it's made by kind of the jailbreak community or whatever, but you can play all the OG Nintendo games on your iPhone or Android phone or even Windows phone, for that matter. So why Nintendo hasn't released these themselves makes no sense to me. I mean, I wish they would just take the original Nintendo games and they can port them over, release them for like 99 cents a piece on the app stores. So I don't know why they refuse to port them over, but I don't know. All those classic games, I know they would sell like hotcakes, but like this article says, Nintendo plans to have 5 games for smartphones and tablets on the market by the end of March 2017. I don't know why it's taking so long, but that's kind of a ways off. The Japanese companies confirmed to investors today why many thought that their calls for Nintendo to embrace smart devices had finally been answered when the firm announced a deal with DeNA 2 months ago. But unfortunately, characters like Mario is not going to be showing up on your iPhone anytime soon. Instead, Nintendo says it's aiming for a few polished titles rather than a gush of cash in. So they want to do all original titles and not just cash in on the OG games. But those are the classics. Those are the games people love. So why they don't cash in on that, I don't know. Makes no sense. I would personally buy them and play them. I like to do some retro gaming. But in the meantime, I guess I'll just use my emulator and Nintendo ROMs. So anyway, that brings me to my third story, which is also sort of on Nintendo. Now you can get NES cartridge-shaped flask. So for all you retro gamers out there who just love the retro Nintendo look, now you can get 3 different styles of actual NES cartridge flask. So obviously it won't work with the game, but it's compatible with your favorite drink. So there's 3 pretty cool and practical flasks inspired by the cartridges. Basically, the labels are inspired from Final Fantasy, Duck Hunt, and The Legend of Zelda. And basically, I'll show you up here, you'll see it sort of looks like the cases, but obviously they changed it due to copyright. But each flask can hold 6 ounces of your favorite beverage, and each of these will cost about 20 bucks. So if you're interested, head to ThinkGeek for more details, and you can probably just Google these online. But kind of cool, kind of retro, neat looking. So if you're a big Nintendo retro fan, then they're out there. Alright, this brings me to my next story, which is Samsung. This is definitely a confirmed rumor. It's just when exactly they come out, but Samsung is releasing an Iron Man Edition Galaxy S6 Edge. So you've probably seen this picture floating on the internet, and I haven't seen an official photo, it's just concepts, but it actually looks pretty sweet. Personally, I wouldn't want it just because, I don't want a movie-themed smartphone, I guess. It's kind of like when you were a kid having the old metal lunch boxes with your favorite TV show. But I don't know. Some people like it, so if you're an Avengers fan, it's out there. Of course, Samsung does have a partnership with Marvel, so this is definitely going to happen, and it'll definitely be released. Whether they do it with the other characters beside Iron Man, I don't know, but you will definitely be able to get a Iron Man themed Galaxy S6 if you so desire. So check that out. And next, continuing with smartphones, this time talking about Microsoft. The Lumina 940, which again is rumors, but they're supposedly, it's going to be Microsoft's new flagship phone. And there's going to be two models, the Lumina 940 and the Lumina 940 XL. And they should come in 32, 64, and 128 gigabyte. It says the 32 gigabyte will feature the Snapdragon 808 chipset and a hex core processor. And then the 64 and 128 gigabytes will come with the Snapdragon 815, and it'll be complemented by 3 gigs of RAM, 3D viewing, and a 25 megapixel camera. So that's some pretty powerful hardware there. And it's also going to be able to do, it'll have optical image stabilization, and it'll support 4K video on the front. It's going to have a 5 megapixel camera. So the device is also going to have a 3,250 milliamp battery for the 940. For the XL, that's going to have a 3,950 milliamp battery. So the specs on these things are awesome. And the XL is supposed to be a 5.7 inch display. So pretty big display, basically Galaxy Note 4 territory. And also rumored is that, this makes sense because Microsoft bought Intrig. So supposedly this is going to have some kind of stylus. And I mean, they've got OneNote, which is an awesome note-taking app, and they own Intrig. So this really makes sense. And this would definitely cut into the Galaxy Note territory here, and maybe cut into their revenue, because really there's only one note-taking phone with a stylus right now, essentially, and that's the Galaxy Note series. So this could actually do some serious competition for Samsung. Personally, I've been loving Windows lately, so if this comes to fruition, then I think I would definitely be trying to check it out if it's with my carrier. Again, it's just a rumor, but hopefully it holds true. And supposedly these are going to be poised to be announced in June, so we should know soon. When they would be released, I don't know, but it would be nice if they could confirm this so we know that, hey, these are coming. So they look pretty sweet. I'm hoping so. If that's the case, I'm willing to jump to Windows Phone. And both of these will be the first to ship with the mobile Windows 10, the new Windows 10 operating system. So hopefully it comes to fruition. I personally would be willing to give it a shot. I'm all kinds of excited for Windows 10 actually. So anyway, last but not least, my final article is from the Russians. So this is the new Russian armored vehicle. It operates via a video game controller, and I don't know why the U.S. military hasn't thought of this, because pretty much every male, female child nowadays kind of grows up with an Xbox controller in their hand or a PlayStation. And so what the Russians did is they basically replaced the steering wheel controls with a PlayStation inspired game controller. So instead of a steering wheel, you actually control the tank with a game controller. And it's called the Kurganets 25, and it's basically a armored personnel carrier, and it's using a PlayStation inspired controller. And I guess the guy in charge of this project said he spent 2 years on convincing the designers to make the console similar to a Sony PlayStation gamepad to make it easier for young soldiers to familiarize themselves with it. So it totally makes sense. Kind of cool. I just thought I'd throw that out there because it is kind of a tech thing. So for all you aspiring young military types out there who love video games, hey, you'll be able to fly helicopters probably in the near future with an Xbox controller. Who knows? Anyway, it's out there. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that roundup. And as always, give me a like down below, and if you haven't done so, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching.